Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft with the most Terran player out there. In the blue, it's Micro Jackson, ByuN, and another top Protoss contender seeing more and more of Team Liquid's Skillous. A best-of-3 Terran versus Protoss showdown between ByuN's almost recklessly aggressive Micro and Skillous, well, much of the same. And speaking of, if you'd like much of the same, it'd be awesome if you could smash that like button. And maybe even subscribe. And Jimmy, what are we? Jimmy, what up? 1,443 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get a little bit better. Almost every time I've seen Skillous, it's been a more aggressive style, but very similar to Max Packs. Blink Micro, Disruptors, Warp Prisms everywhere, pretty much anything but sitting back and relaxing for a few moments, which, well, good for me, not so much for my heart rate, but already a bunker on the way, a ByuNker, if you would. I wouldn't, but you might. A third command center as well, as he tries to just get away with the most greedy Terran opener. And, I mean, it is ByuN. So there are two options. Either he's going to be recklessly aggressive, recklessly greedy, or option 3, which is both. So I think both sides of that will end up coming to fruit. He's getting an engineering bay. You can't just make Marines in every matchup. You're like, oh, is he going to defend against Oracle? Nope. This is going to be some sort of +1 Marine stim timing, straight out of, like, 2010. So, here we go. There's no way, even if he suspected an Oracle, you need an, like, turrets are not actually for countering Oracles or air units, therefore discouraging them from coming any further, a deterrent. This is +1 infantry weapons at the same speed a Bronze League hero usually gets it. And now, well, he's just gonna build a bunch of Marines, maybe a few Marauders, and stim his way across the map. Skillous, on the other hand, already has Blink on the way. He's working on a Robo. So he will have the tools to deal with it. How he wields them, that's going to depend. And he's not even building any Marauders. He's just going to be a... Okay. At least he's building Marauders. Because just Marines you can kite for the better part of days with Blink Stalkers. It only takes 4 Stalker shots to kill a Marine, at least before Combat Shield. And there will not be Combat Shield for quite a while, as he's limited to just that single tech lab for now. Though adding on to it, Factory on the way. Third command center is done. Does Skillous have any idea? The bunker kind of gives it away. If he doesn't have factory units, and he doesn't have... he's not already moving across the map, it's a third command center. That or some sort of ridiculous, like, 5 racks all in. But Skillous should be very aware of what he's dealing with now, and the literally constant shades of the Adept making their way in. Observer will confirm what I assume are already his suspicions. And once it does, the question is what's next? Robo Bay, charge. Oh, there's the Robo Bay already. But Skillous gets in. We're in the Skillous cam now. He takes a look around, sieges up that Observer, and unsieges it immediately. Will escape. So beautifully done. Evades the literal detection and is able to keep the Observer alive, which buys him more time to build things like Immortals. Can move the Stalkers out of the map because the only threat are the Marines and Marauders on the ground. So there will be no sort of no medevac slipping by, not even Widow Mines or Siege Tanks at this stage, but instead just straight up Marine Marauder. Alright. Just working on the supply depot. A single Stalker taking a lot of hits. We'll get a depot, though. First. Oh, I guess he killed the Reaper, but... the first meaningful kill. And ByuN is actually supply blocked off that, so... has a bit more of an impact than even Skillous, I'm sure, expecting. More Spylons headed up. Observers. I like putting him over the water there, where it's kind of hard to actually see the shimmer, because I'm sure ByuN, as a pro gamer... Well, nowadays, many pro gamers don't play on potato settings. Partially, it's a visibility thing, and partially, it's a performance thing. but I don't think the majority of gamers are on like full potato or brood war graphics nowadays. Not sure which one it is, but of course Terrans have been trained for many, many years to spot those observers, whether they have detection or not. Ooh, Marauders. Break the kneecaps of another Stalker. And this wasn't so much a Spylon as a proxy. 5 more gates on the way for Skillous. But the Bio Army, Medevac's like, oh my god, you guys, how many times did you stim before we got here? Not enough. The Bio Army, 121 to 110 supply. And of course, ByuN loads up a drop. And we'll try to split the difference. The entire Protoss army being cut. Oh my. Skillous anticipates it. Actually, I think the Observer caught a glimpse of it. And that's why he moved the Stalkers into position. That perfectly placed Observer gets a Medevac, loses several Stalkers though. Rest of the army chasing. Force fields locking a couple of the Marines. Colossus will handle the rest. And so far, parried the left, right, and that Observer down the center. Oh, it's perfect. And from ByuN's cam, oh, it's beautiful. It's a sieged up there, but because of the little wave lapping, once again, I think it does depend on the graphic settings, but if ByuN is on anything similar to the fancy settings I am, it's almost impossible to see that. He just has to anticipate it with a scan. Questionable force fields, but are there any other kind in this matchup? He's done a pretty good job of it so far. But that is definitely more Terran than he's equipped to deal with. The Zealots are warped in from the side, come to the front lines. One Colossus toppled, but the Widow Mines will help out as well. Drags the shots in, but the brawl will continue. Targeting another Medevac. More Zealots in front. No upgrades for Skillous. Plus 1-1 done for ByuN, but Skillous is just keeping the pressure on, and that is helping out so much. Dodges the Stalker shots with the Medevac. Of course he does. But Skillous has 4 bases behind this. He's got 73 probes, building 4 more at a time. He really could use a second forge, I think, at this point. But he's at 9 gateways, and he's able to reinforce. I wonder if ByuN realized, based on the angle those Zealots were coming in, which is kind of a lot to ask, that it wasn't a prism, but instead it was a pylon and a gateway, just providing that reinforcement potential. And Skillous knows the map is dark and full of Terrans, so he's lighting it up. Spylons, observers, sending Zealots out, scouting for bases. And if ByuN doesn't have a 4th base, all he has to do is concentrate everything on crushing the army. You want maybe 10, 20 army supply, usually Zealots, counterattacking to try to drag some of those units back. And then everything else, smash the front while they're looking the other way. And speaking of smashing, disruptors in production. Second robo. We've got +1 Protoss ground. Zealot will bravely stand guard and prevent the command center from landing, because you don't want to scratch the paint by pancaking it, obviously. Skillous not going to let that just stand by. He's actually ahead in supply. Kind of a rarity in this matchup against full macro Terran. Stalkers trying to bait things in. Zealots on the right flank. Skillous tested the waters here. And the rest of the army is coming up. Those Zealots distracting on the right. But there's a couple Vikings and a whole bunch of Bio. So he's kind of shifting left and right. Looking for options. More Ruptors on the way. 3 Colossi. Any more than that, it's usually a liability. That's enough to easily roast Marines, do a lot of damage to the Marauders, without having so much invested in things that can get hard countered by Vikings. The Disruptors will fill in the gaps. 4 more gateways on the way. As the double Ruptor production continues, Zealot still mustering right outside sensor tower range. ByuN actually kept the sensor tower alive. He's about to finish 2-2, which is going to be a 3 upgrade advantage for at least a few seconds. These observers are perfectly placed. He scanned twice for observers, and he found none. This observer placement is top-notch. Yeah, it's a simple thing, but an important one. A scan. That observer will be maintained, and Skillous has perfect vision. Here's that. Wow, that's a lot of Zealots. Like 20 Zealots headed in towards the 3rd base. That's enough for the Bio Army to have to retreat to the mineral line. But again, the upgrade advantage is significant. +2 ground weapon is about to complete for Skillous. But we've got a fusion core on the way for ByuN as he moves to intercept the Zealots, but they're able to retreat in time. 3 more command centers on the way. Things heating up, as the Colossi do as well. But the Vikings over the top almost knocked down a Colossus. Disruptor shots fade away, clips a Marauder. And a Ghost caught out, taken down easily. Last words are never say die, which, you know, failed at that too. Skillous now with 5-6 bases. He's got 78 probes. Oh, Disruptor caught. Has to come around the corner. Not going to be so great, but doesn't want to go through the rocks there. Quite a hard place to deal with. 3 Colossi still, but the Vikings in good position. Knock down 1. Gonna find a second. Just 1 Colossus remains, but the charge lots have closed the distance, and the Zealots will slice up the Ghosts. Only a 1 upgrade disadvantage, and Skillous has the numbers. Disruptors around the corner. Oh, just misses the Ghost, and the other Disruptors are gonna be popped before they can get their shots off. But here comes another wave of Zealots. Just streaming in. Knocks down another medevac. And knocking out these medevacs is a huge deal. Reducing the amount of time ByuN can commit to Vikings and Liberators is the most important thing, as Skillous continues reinforcing. He's got 17 gateways! 17! And he can support them. So Zealots are about 30 seconds on warp-in charges. He's currently 3,800 minerals per minute, but ByuN has 1,200 gas per minute, so we can do a lot with that. He's got 2 reactored starports as well, pumping out medevacs to replace the ones he's lost. Already 8 medevacs and 6 Vikings taken down. 68 Zealots. And that's just the beginning. Has another wave. He has 37 on the field. The Stalker's already targeted on the medevacs. Multiple Widowmons. Disruptor in the mix. Gonna ward the army away for now. 3 Raptors at a time. 3 Robos, 17 gateways, and working on +3 attack. Zealots just streaming through, and there's not enough medevacs to keep everything intact. That force field trying to help again. Participation award, I guess. And those Widowmons can be real dangerous. He sacrifices 4 or 5 Zealots to minimize the damage. Another set. Left side. ByuN lifts off immediately. That sensor tower, but the sensor towers are doing great work, but the observers are doing incredible as well. Skillous has great vision, especially considering how actively ByuN has been trying to deny it. But both sides still with an incredible economy. Now ByuN at 3-3 upgrades. They're both maxed out. And Skillous is taking another base. Finally, the proxy gate is spotted. But it won't be stopped, not yet. The disruptor count has grown dramatically. Clips a Widowmine. Zealots coming in again, draws some of the army back. What does he have over here? Another pylon, probably gate combo. Not even bothering to expand there. He's actually blocking a nexus if he ever wants to get there. The medevac count has grown dramatically, but ByuN, did he get Caduceus? He got advanced ballistics, but definitely one of the players who sleeps on Caduceus reactor. Medevac energy regen seems kind of important. ByuN agrees. Stop listening to me recording in the future. That seems unfair. Liberators will siege up. Venn diagram of freedom opened up. Disruptor, be careful with those things. Accidentally selected it, but another wave of Zealots coming in. Fires off a double barrel. Nothing. Zealots still working on it. Another Ruptor shot clips a couple Marines. Our Zealots warping in. Proxy gate working on it. That's gateway. Well, he lost his proxy gate, so he's going to be back to 17 momentarily. The Liberator count growing dramatically. 23 Zealots. Gateway man is fully in action now. More Zealots. The planetary finished, but enough Zealots were warped in to take it down. Another dozen as he looks for another one. Instead of the blink DT stop, he missed the observer again. Oh my god, the scan. Disruptor, no! Popped immediately. And he actually has to scramble back. ByuN has actually been pushed back for so far. So that was not a sentence, but it was close. Just like ByuN to the main. The Stalker's already blunked, though. I like how Skillous has spread out his gateways. It's not all on just like one pylon, for example, with all your tech. Who would do that? The Stalkers with a concave, but that's still a dangerous Terran army. And speaking of, another one up to the north side. Liberator sieging up multiple bases at once as Skillous now on the back foot. struggling to deal. There are 5 more command centers on the way, by the way. Another drop. Warpins to deal with it. But there's no direct answer to these Liberators. Vikings on deck. Disruptors with the army. Oh, but caught out in front again. As there's so much going on right now. 10, 11 probes dead, mostly to the Liberators. Trying to chase all this down, gets the medevacs. More army. Probes transferring across the map. I'm not sure what's happening there. But Skillous, did he lose any Nexi? No. He still has all his Nexi intact. And speaking of bases, there are 4 command centers on the screen right now. 3 of them, or 2 of them flying away. 1 of them obliterated by the main army. Another one just standing by. Widowmines on the ground, but disruptors are wandering into the fray. Oh no, he fires off full broadside. And enough of them connect for the Stalkers to overwhelm the rest. 21 SCVs dead. Both sides plummeting in supply. 117 to 115 apiece. The Disruptors are coming back online. The Liberators are still isolating multiple bases. Another round of... A little late, guys. Good. I appreciate your gumption, but you're way over your head. The Stalkers still blinking back. As the armies... Wow, they have nothing in the bank. They're throwing everything into the fray. The supplies, the army values and supplies have just plummeted to near even. He just is ignoring these Liberators. He built a Stargate, getting a single Phoenix to deal with it. Disruptor shot, takes out the command center, loses a few units, and wards away with more Ruptors. Still a Zealot. Deja vu. We've just been in this place before, trying to land the base, but a Zealot is standing there. A Zealot is yes, thank you. That single Phoenix will eventually deal with the Liberators. But several more probes will die in the process. And it appears both players have exhausted their options. They just... Neither has very much. The incomes are so low that after all this action, after... Oh my god. 55,000 resources. That might be a record for this matchup. Terran versus Zerg is usually the highest by a bit compared to other matchups, but Terran versus Protoss rarely has... Usually someone finds a decisive engagement before we get to this level of attrition. Just because of the inherent nature of Terran and Protoss. Both sides have such strong potential armies that it's very easy to find yourself in a winning position with one good fight. The same is not as true in other matchups. The Liberators, though, gonna be picked off. The gateway units are not the be-all, end-all. Well, really, until they are. 4 or 5 Liberators. Command centers wandering across the field. ByuN, his army a bit out of position. That is the Ghost Academy. And now it's dead. Ghost, I don't think he's built a single Templar. No Templar Archives, nor Dark Shrine. The command centers are all over the place. As Skillous is at 187 supply, though his army supply is only marginally higher. He's back to quite an income advantage. The mule peaks there. As we dive back into the canyons, as Skillous is able to resecure his bases. There's the Stargate up here. Somehow the Phoenix almost died. Maybe the Liberators were fighting it. They have +2, and there are no air upgrades for Skillous. He's actually working on the shield upgrades level 2 now. Wow, that is a lot of Zealots and Stalkers. Disruptors, getting close. Fires off 2, fires off 3. He's getting close, but he doesn't get him in time. He jumps on the grenade, and he's not able to defuse it. And the Disruptors land. ByuN biting off so much more than he could chew, and it literally blows up in his face. He still has the army supply, and much of Skillous's, Stalkers and Zealots, very good. But without the Ruptors, you can't really core out the army. There's a single sentry for Guardian Shield, which is an immense help, reducing all Terran damage by 2. Well, besides SCVs, but we don't really count that. A Disruptor. More Liberators coming up. Skillous not able to quite put the nail in the coffin, but he can put the Zealots in the main, which is the next best thing. Liberators will take out the Warp Prism of the main army. Looking to isolate. Chasing down. They're still... What is... Ah! There's just 2 command centers. That war prism actually not killed, unless that was a second prism. Anyways, this entire base, the command centers, non-aggression pact. As he goes for the mining bases instead. ByuN dropping down. What? Where are you going? Come back! Scouting command centers. What is? I don't know what ByuN is doing. I don't know much of what. Well, this will certainly. These are some expensive observers. How many orbital commands? There are 6 of them. It's hard to tell exactly where. ByuN actually has more army supply because he's down to 31 SCVs, and he's not even close to maxed out. The command centers, yeah, just put a planetary in his main. Go for it, bro. Why not? Meanwhile, the Liberators are gonna annex this base. Are you floating to the bottom right? Are you kidding me? What? ByuN. Well, if he ever needs a command center, I know where to find one. So we're going into an exhausting base trade. It feels like both players are just like, we're running out of steam here. Minerals and gas as well. There's a Dark Shrine, another Nexus, and of course there's an orbital command here. Why wouldn't there be? The main base, ByuN, down to 175 over 123 supply. 1 command center in the corner. Skillous has been wiped off the base. The Phoenix survived somehow. A scan, like, there's 55 probes. Observer speed is on the way. Skillous still has decent income. He's still mining from like 1.5 bases. An observer following the... Wow, that's a lot of Liberators. 33 Marauders, 11 Liberators. Not again, the Disruptors caught. So many Disruptors down. 19 Ruptors, 200 Zealots have died. Oh my, the Zealotlings will continue force fields, but they mildly discourage. The Disruptors more violently discourage. He gets a chunk, but ByuN is chasing the army down. He tries to right-click on the Ruptors. The Liberators overhead. The front line of Zealots is evaporating quickly. ByuN still brawling it out. The Zealots are stuck behind the Stalkers. The Liberators have no such issues. The Disruptor, I think, killed more Zealots than it killed Terran units, as he's trying to fight a retreating action. But ByuN's army is just so difficult to pin down. And there's no more targets on the map. There's nothing to go around besides maybe the production. ByuN is no longer supply blocked, but that's not necessarily a good thing, as the Liberators are doing so much damage around the corner, though. Skillous really struggling to fight this army, but he's whittling it down, and he has the income. ByuN is mining from 4 total mineral patches. He still has a lot of command centers. They're just, you know, not where you'd expect. The DTs are out. There are still only 3 orbitals left, and I'm not sure how many are actually landing. So DTs could be a... He's held on to it for this long. Bringing DTs out 25 minutes in is certainly a choice. Oh, and with +3, they still one-shot. Uses a scan. These probes are transferring to... He blocked this base with a pylon a while ago, so I think that's why he didn't just take it. But now maybe regretting that decision. The production tab was just empty for a moment. A single Marauder for ByuN as he gets on supply block because he lost so many units. The Liberators are still... But there's only 3 of them. Disruptor actually lands the shot because ByuN backs off with too many units. The Stalkers are fighting. The Dark Shrine is over here. Why not? There's that Phoenix. Well, we know he doesn't use... He just spotted it again. We know... And there's still a Warp Prism as well. Meanwhile, brawling it out in the center line. Another Ruptor shot over the top. It has to back up. The 3 Liberators, the only 3 Liberators, are fighting forward, and the Skillous is really only mining base. Disruptors, able to back off in time. He has the economy. ByuN, fires around the corner. Unfortunately, that's so much bio. And Skillous, This is his mining. He's retaking a base to the top right. The warpers him into the main. The door's open, guys. Another Ruptor shot. There goes the Dark Shrine. Zealots will find another base. He's warping into the main. He's fighting in the... Don't let me in! Oh, well, this is a very, very bad positioning. There's no observers on this army. He's just tearing through the stalkers. The disruptors are so important. But he's like a shield battery overcharge, more like no overcharge. And ByuN. He's dragging Skillous into this base trade. It appears he might be beating him with experience. ByuN has been in this situation so many times where he's like, finally, I can just micro. Oh, that silly economy stuff. Boring. The main base, all these units still trapped inside. Well, the door's technically open. Trapped inside, though. Skillous is down to 124 versus 123 supply, and the army supply is in favor of ByuN. They're both maxed out on upgrades, plus 2 shields. No ghosts to invalidate it either. A single liberator, though he's built a few more. The Stalker's out in front. Disruptor on the edge of liberation range. Decent hit. Clips a couple Marauders. Another one. And another one. That one gets 2 Zealots. So, well, I mean, that's more than nothing. Not exactly a good thing, though. And here comes ByuN, just trying to use this opportunity. Disruptors land! Was it enough? It's just Marauders here. A few Zealots warped in. He actually goes for the Stalkers. Blink Stalker Micro. Skillous fighting it out. And there's just not that much left. He can just blink. He's just fighting the Marauders. He's getting a little intimidated by this. Liberators fight. You gotta go now. You gotta go now. He's trying to fight around the Liberators, which may work. The Disruptors could help. He's chasing. Gets 1 Liberator. Gets a second. ByuN, he has to hold these positions. The Warp Prism goes down. A Zealot is fighting one of the few remaining supply depots. There's 15 SCVs to 45 probes. Skillous rebuilding yet again. But through all the fire and fury, 282 Zealots dead, 137 Marauders, and 179 Marines. He loves Marauders. ByuN finds an exposed Nexus. Oh no, not again with the Ruptors. These are the last 3 Ruptors, the most important 3 Ruptors. He has to be so careful with them. There's that base. There's more command centers wandering around the map. There's still the command center in the bottom right corner. He's chasing down the army. The Raptors! Fires off a shot at the Marauders from the north side. Get 1. There's only 1 left. And now there's no more. The Terran army is on the chase. Skillous. Oh no. It's a disaster. ByuN. 85 to 85 supply, but he's got 69 army supply, which is nice enough to potentially close this out. With no splash damage, there's no competition. The Terran army will crush. And Skillous, just the Disruptors, a fickle creature. And ByuN. It hurts. He holds. And Skillous hung with him this whole time. He lost 69,850 resources. He mined so many of them. But in the moment, it's so hard to make those decisions. And if you go the wrong direction for a split second with those Ruptors, well, the Marauders won't give you another second. It really feels like ByuN, no matter what matchup he's playing, no matter what year it is, eventually wants to have a bunch of Marines and Marauders and Medevacs and micro them till he wins or loses. And somehow, he manages to turn that into the situation in so many of his games. For better or for worse. Micro Jackson takes the game. Skillous. I feel like a few more DTs. It's hard. It's very easy to point out, like, oh, he could have done that or that or that. But there were so many small, literally micro decisions that, and moments that could have tilted the scales. That is one of the closest games I've ever seen in Terran versus Protoss at this level. Like, it didn't come down to the very last unit, but the amount that it was on a knife edge, just stray but a little. It could have easily tilted either way, but it went 30 minutes. And now ByuN breaks out the engineering bay like the filthy Terran he is. I like how ByuN's ideal late game doesn't even involve Ghosts. He didn't even rebuild the Ghost Academy. It died like 10 minutes before the end of the game. I guess if there are no Archons, it's not really as important. But mostly it's ByuN has been microing Marines, Marauders, and Medevacs for a decade and a half, so... And he keeps getting away with it. I also haven't seen that early build. He just went 3cc into +1 Marines, which is hilariously on brand. Skillous gonna whip out a Stargate in game 2. Mixing up a little. I like it. And it's not going to be the Mass Marine this time, but instead, a much more conservative 2-gas. No, not early. A 2-gas after getting the command center. Which means it's going to be a much more budget-oriented factory build, aka Widowmines. Oracle on the way. I'm sure Skillous has his suspicions. He's all like, for the last couple years, feels like he's always been. He's one of those players who could have a great tournament at any time. He's kind of in the same category. I would have put Max Pax or maybe even Clem several years ago, where he can potentially beat an. Okay. You ever seen a depth kill supply depot? Almost did now. He's one of those players that could beat anyone. Just is not consistent about it. And as you see last game... Oh no. Adept wandering and certainly does not bode well. Phoenix on the way. Where's the Oracle? Where is the Oracle? Just chilling. Building energy. Now, ByuN... Remember, this is a effectively like a 1.5 base build. He needs to do some damage, and he's doing plenty of damage. But he's also taking some back at home. That Oracle... There's not much anti-air. Marines, well, they'll get through them. And now there's just nothing. So, he's gonna kill some more SCVs. Widowmine is cleaned up. The Oracle... No, don't do it! Okay. Alright, that was close. Marines do a surprising amount against it, but he manages to get 3 SCVs. He kills some of the Marines. He delays a lot of mining time, which is usually just one of those things casters say to make it sound more dramatic. But he wasn't mining from his main for like a full 30 seconds. He transferred most of the SCVs over just to get something done. And now one of those mules, get back to work. You don't have much to live for. Like, literally. What is my purpose? You mine a few extra minerals for like a minute and a half, and then you die. Oh my god. And then... Because on the other side, another drop was coming in. Skillous looking the other way. Loses the Oracle, unfortunately. Banshee comes in. Very thankfully for Skillous, it doesn't have Cloak. Just a casual Banshee thrown into the fray. He actually... I don't know if it was on purpose, but ended up dodging into the assimilator. Bunch more probes coming in, and now Skillous is the one struggling to... Oh my, parts of the Banshee flying up. Skillous is the one struggling to actually mine. What? Engineering bay behind. ByuN does not have a third command center. Skillous working on his third nexus. So I think Skillous comes out a bit ahead in this full exchange. He has a few more workers. He has, very importantly, that next, he's about to have Blink done. Against a Terran who doesn't have medevacs yet. Far off combat, doesn't even have stim. That's actually a huge deal. And Skillous is going to take full advantage, so he's got to be very careful when stim finishes, or, well, you can only take so many hits from the tank. The Viking looking for its own little raiding party. I'm sure it'll be coming up momentarily. And here we are again, a Phoenix with incredibly low health patrolling around. So, a lot earlier on in the game this time. Single. Billy! What are you doing out there? Job's finished? No! Well, butter my biscuit. Alright. Viking kills 3 probes. 4. Wow. Wow! This is 7 probes for a Viking. That is an uncomfortable amount of damage. And now the Stalker's in trouble. Gonna get chased down. 1 taken out. Another one. No concussive shell, thankfully. But 2 Stalkers dead. Another one almost there. Force field optimistic. And that is a lot of Terran. He does have shield battery overcharge. But, Skillous, it's just 1 siege tank. Between the battery overcharge, the blink, the medevacs are nearly out of energy. So this is a very tenuous push from ByuN. He's going to rely on these reinforcements. Charge is only 5 seconds out. If he attacks with charge, that may very well be enough. If he's going to go, otherwise the Ooh. Unfortunate, but the reinforcements will join up in time. Skillous doesn't have any vision of this. He doesn't have a robo, so no observer. Shield battery overcharge, though. Guardian shield helpful. Gonna sacrifice the Zealot. On the mine, force fields, pretty good. Zoning things out, really working the shield battery overcharge now, trying to minimize the damage across the board. Overcharge is gone, but the medevacs are out of energy, and every stim is permanent damage, temporarily. Blinking back some of the Stalkers, will finish off. Ooh, Whittle Mines connect with the sentries, but starting to whittle down the units. ByuN still going forward, though. More medevacs on the way. That means Skillous needs to fight this now. The medevacs will eventually heal up the units if he doesn't chase them down. But here we go. Gotta be careful with blinking too many. He turns around with the Marauders, but gets 2 medevacs for his trouble. Couple Marauders as well. Whittle Miner, too, can blink out of it. Will blink forward, or well, off to the side. Another one just drags it in. And suddenly, Skillous looking very good on the field. Gotta be careful not to bite off more than he can chew, but still whittling down those starport units is so incredibly important. Whittlmine sacrificed. The Zealots. Oh no, he already blinked. Eats another Stalker hit. And Skillous will be stopped at the door. ByuN is able to battle him back across the map, but not much further. The Stalkers, precarious position. Concussive is done now, but Skillous not gonna let up. The medevacs, another round of medevacs just came out. More Zealots out in front. Skillous aggressively expanding. He's got both flavors of splash damage on the way now. Templar Archives and a robotics band. A second robo. Well, did you order some splash damage? Here's a whole buffet platter. 2 robos, Robo Bay, Templar Archive. So, ByuN. Oh, the supply is. You know, the thing is, Skillous, while he whittled down, he did a good job of minimizing the threat to his economy, but he didn't do anything to really slow down ByuN's economy. And that means, when left to his own devices, he's been able to grind out a 20 supply lead. He's got 5 barracks on the way, of course, 3 tech labs, in order to pump out that ridiculous amount of Marauders that he loves. But a Warp Prism in the main. Awkwardly, there wasn't even really any end here. Warp Prism not going to be taken down. Main fight at the front. Zealot sacrificed to the Whittle Mines. He doesn't have Drilling Claws, so if he cleans up this army, he can take him out. That sentry! It holds! The shield battery overcharge keeps the sentry just barely alive long enough. And it takes so much damage. Now 8 SCVs dead back at home. Skillous, He defends the attack and does some damage at the back. And ByuN is forced to retreat for now. Skillous evens up the supply. He's got double Colossus on the way. And unlike last game, he's competitive on the upgrades. Not that it ended up mattering, of course, as they both were pretty much maxed out on him by the end, and that was the relevant part. But at this stage, that means the Colossi with +2 ground weapons and some Archons. There's some Ghosts being added in. I don't think they're okay, they're 2 Vikings on the field. Oh, I think they're just patrolling for the Prism at the moment. He hasn't revealed the Colossi, has ByuN. He hasn't seen the Robos. He hasn't seen the Colossi. He hasn't seen the Archons. But the dramatic reveal is moments away, and there we go, a scan. He spots that the Nexus is potentially exposed. ByuN stints into position. Guardian Shield used. Zealots out in front. A couple Widow Mines. Blinks out of the way. Big Widow Mine hit. Gets a lot of the Zealots, but there's no kicker here. There's no secondary attack. There's no secondary army. So ByuN, this is all he has on the field right now. I'm sure that Skillous is very well aware that ByuN could send out another group, but looks like most of the army here. Oh, blinks to the side, trying to target the Stalkers, but EMPs land. But they don't land on the Archons, which means they're doing a lot of damage to the ground army, and Skillous knocks out the Vikings. 3 Colossi, taking out the depot because they love killing depots. That's just how they are. But now ByuN pushed all the way back to the natural. He may have to pull the boys, but against this many Colossi, they're going to get roasted immediately. Again, killing supply depots, but now focusing forward, and Skillous ties up the series. 1-1. Beautifully done. A great execution there in every sense of the word. And Skillous is able to make... He made a dramatic and almost, not instantaneous, but a very quick transition into the splash damage. The Colossi and the Archons, from the time ByuN saw them to when they actually moved across the field towards the production, ByuN barely had 1 round of production. He had what he was already building to work with. So he didn't have time to adapt. He didn't have time to set out like those multi-pronged attacks. Skillous pinned him back and knocked him out in a very well done series of attacks. And that brings us to the decider. Game number 3. I'll see. No, I thought he might take the gold base. But just checking for the proxy Rex. The pro. Well, he'll see the barracks back at home, which is where he wants it to be, I assume. Well, it'd be nice to scout a proxy Rex and then just kill the SCV and delay, but... Factory and the Reaper come out as we enter normal time, which is faster time. Normal time is slower than normal time because of many quirks that we're not going to get into again. At ByuN, it seems the barracks build was an exclusive. Instead, now opting for the more standard factory. This time it's a 2-gas outright, so quickest factory while still having some capability to expand. Only 2 in each gas after he starts. Oh, 2 in 1. So 3 total in gas after the factory. Skillous found success to an extent with the Stargate. It's higher risk, but higher reward than the straight-to-blink Stalker style. If you lose the first Oracle or Phoenix or what have you, for like either to Widow Mines or Cyclones or something along those lines, well, you are in a barrel of trouble. But you also have a lot more ability to outright counter all that early Terran aggression. Not quite the right spot to deny vision. And oh no, the Reaper Hellion comes up and the Adept goes out. You can't explain that. First Oracle on the way. Reaper's into the main. Hellion. Oh, 1 Hellion. Oh no, it slips by the Adept. That's going to be very annoying. Reaper's 2 kills. Hellion may be able to pick up a couple more, though. He's focused on the micro. Citizen's Arrest I think he's boxed in here, but he make it. Oh my god. 4 kills. Hellion gets taken out without adding to the count. But Skillous down several probes. But ByuN did have... Well, he scouted the Stargate this time. He got in. The Reapers obviously saw the base. And he knows about the Stargate. Fleet Beacon? Is this a mothership rush? I can't think of anything else. Skillous against ByuN. Well, go big or go all the way home, I guess. I guess it could be Tempest, but that's a... No, that doesn't work against Terran. That's not... What are you doing? Well, the mind is boggled. The flabbers are gasted. He's going to see the Tempest building. Like, you can't fake a fleet beacon. The beacon is completed. The beacon is lit. This is happening, by the way. This is hilarious, but I don't... What am I watching? Right, what is this? I know what it is. I mean... Well, that's one way to counter Medivacs, I guess. ByuN, by the way, gets away with murder, because of course he does. That Cyclone may die just when it hits the ground. Has so little health. You know, that would be a... What if we balanced it like that? Units take 10% HP damage. Or they take 1 damage every time they hit the ground. All right, that's your balance. Still let the Medivacs be ridiculous, and that the fact they can pick up and drop down almost instantaneously. But every time they hit the ground, what HP? Gosh, ByuN would kill his own units every game. And Clem, but don't worry, I'd be fine. So he's just building Tempest like it's a thing people do. Like, well, Phoenixes kind of suck, so Tempests are like Phoenixes, but larger and more expensive. And they also kind of suck, but like, they have more range. ByuN doesn't seem to care too much about this. He's just building more of the same thing with maybe a few more Vikings. Then again, Skillous is just building your kind of standard gateway composition with a few Tempests, so... This is very... This feels like one of those strategies that's going to make great clickbait, like and subscribe. But he's just going to give up on the Tempest after losing one fight, and then we're going to move on. Though I would love for this to be something, but I'm hard-pressed to... Well, they counter Reapers pretty well, I guess. I don't know why he had a Reaper. I think it was an accident. Revelation. The Marines. Oh, stasis, stop right there, criminal scum. And now this is actually enough Marines. This is quite a quandary. Because that is enough Marines to be worth... Oh my god, he force fielded his own Stalker with stasis Marines. Yeah. Everything's coming across the map. When these come out of stasis, he's obviously going to want to murder them. But I guess, despite all the hype, it just... Oh. They just kind of... Okay. Never mind. They just back off. I'm still... It appears ByuN's going to head towards 200 supply. He's just going to max out and trust his army can crush the much more single target oriented Protoss. The Tempests don't scale like that. For 5 supply, having a unit that barely trades with Vikings, your army supply and its effectiveness, that's why he's getting the Robo Bay. Like, you need some splash damage here. Because ByuN is just sitting back. If he moves out, he's going to get run over. But as we already saw, attacking into this defensive army is going to be a lot harder. Love the shift blinking. Or at least like the staggered blinks. Revelation. No ship weapons on the way. For ByuN. But also no air upgrades for Skillous. Well, stop listening! There's the air upgrade. Knocks out the Widow Mine. There's still the Oracle. Quite a lot of hotkeys there from Skillous. He's got several different even hotkeys as warp gates, which not all players do, because technically there's a... And, well, there's the mothership. But there's always one thing to consider with the motherships. If you consult this diagram, all right, here's what you'll see. Now, if you look very closely, you'll see the mothership here is made out of paper, and therefore is very easy to kill. So, despite making a big target. But Time Warp and active, well, mostly Time Warp, I think, as well as Tactical Recall, could be a great option. But down goes one Tempest. EMPs wash across the front line. The Vikings, the Colossus helping out. Shield Battery Overcharge backstopping this. Some Widow Mines connect. Drawing out more mines with the Zealots. Skillous now has a fourth base. Mothership is completed. Proxy gate being set up. So this is just your kind of standard Gateway Man Colossus Protoss, but with a few Tempests and a Mothership mixed in. And ByuN has kind of just let him do it. He hasn't felt any sort of obligation to pressure Skillous here. Which this feels like one of those, when your enemy's making a mistake, don't interrupt them sort of situations. Where ByuN is pretty confident he can crush this army. And the more Tempest and Mothership sort of stuff it has, the easier it is to deal with compared to Colossi or Ruptors or Storm even. But only time will tell. That's just a misrally. Warp gate finished up to the north side. +2 ground weapons as well as +1 ship weapons now. As ByuN upgrading those Vikings. This Terran army. Now he's maxed out. He's not... There's no reason to hesitate much longer. Time Warp on the Vikings. The Colossi are getting knocked down, but the Vikings are getting taken out even more quickly. And a bunch of Zealots have made their way into the natural. The main Bioforce. But the Colossi are just roasting the Marines. The Ghost Academy's vulnerable. And the Ghosts themselves will be eviscerated by the Zealots. The Tempests chasing down the Medevacs. Blinkstalkers as well. And ByuN plummets 70 supply in less than half that many seconds. Vikings on the ground. More Zealots coming in. And Skillous has crushed the army with this heavy-hitting Protoss force. And the Zealots have undercut any ability to reinforce or perpetuate this economically. And here we are, the third base exposed. ByuN does have a fourth, but he's lost 21 SCVs. Skillous has to be very careful not to... Oh my god, no, don't... Oh my god. Oh no! Oh no! It's a disaster! Now, you need to know what just happened. So, the Mothership activated mass recall, which brings units to the nearest land. But here's the problem. Is he hit it awkwardly, and half the army ended up on the low ground, a very important half, not the air units, and then the Mothership got outflanked by missile turrets. So Skillous just went from a 30 supply lead to down 30. So that was about as dramatic. So the mothership here doing a great job of turning this game around for ByuN, as Skillous just face planted with an actively horrible recall. Now, what he expected, I don't know if this was necessarily a good idea. What he expected was the main army, the entire army ideally, gets into the main. And if it gets dicey, he can recall with his next eye out of it. But it all went horribly wrong. Wow. That was almost as bad as the invasion of Ire. All right, like, it's like, no, we're doing it. Sir, I don't know if this is a good idea. Shut up, we're doing it. Reclaim our home world. Like, well, how did that work out? About as well as expected, eh? What have you done, Skillous? I mean, he doesn't have a mothership. He lost all his Tempest. The Vikings are knocking down the Colossi. Now ByuN has the upgrades. He didn't lose a critical mass of his economy. He was able to rebuild, especially since Skillous no longer had the army to pressure. The Storm will force a pause on what was looking to be a game-winning attack. Not this again. Now we're not doing the flying command centers again. Oh my god. The Vikings taken down. This will be cleared up. And again, Skillous moving across the field. The Ghosts don't have enough energy to EMP. So Skillous is turning it around despite the supplies. Well, the reason those supplies look like that is because their army is at least double this size in reserve. Ben Diascan making sure no observers overhead. Skillous still has this economy. Oh my. Well, can you see the moment he recalled into oblivion? And he did such a great job. He actually made it work. Like the mothership and the Tempest, they worked. Right up until they very, very, very much didn't. Well, another mothership on the way. I think if he had just backed off and gotten Storm. It's not over. Skillous has already made some miracles happen, but there's enough Ghosts and Vikings that those miracles are going to be harder to come by. Ooh, beautiful Storm, though. That's a lot of damage. The EMPs are coming up, though. The Medivacs are able to keep mostly the Ghosts and Marauders intact. Neither of them die in a single storm. Does 80 damage. Ghosts have 100 HP. Marauders, 125. Check to make sure. So even if they weather it entirely, the Medivac's going to help out. He just has too much. Mothership number 2. Daughter ship about to complete. There's no answer to the Vikings now. Oh, it hurts. 2 games. Skillous, I feel, could have won every game in this series. But held back by the Protoss's kind of natural instinct for dramatic plays, as opposed to just a conservative defense. But I gotta say, it's been entertaining. There's the time warp. There's a couple Templar coming down. I don't think they have quite enough energy. GG! It's over! ByuN takes it 2-1, but wow, that was something. Ah, so close, yet so incredibly far. ByuN powers through. His Marines and Marauders, yet again. Skillous going to fall as dramatically as possible. But I'm sure we'll see him again. So hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully it made your day just a little bit better. And if you got the means and motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. So, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Don't recall into thin air. And stay chill.